The Taurus dome covers our microscopic tiny portion of flat Earth. Anunnaki arrived here on this tiny portion of enormous flat Earth plane 7,529 years ago to harvest a soul for themselves. The entire flat Earth domain is made of silicon-based life form of a titanic proportions. The Anunnaki accommodated themselves in the habitat of silicon-based titans, man and women, and giant silicon trees stretching up to 120 kilometers high. After winning a war against the Titans, they created the Greys as their slave race to cut down giant trees and mined the grounds for silicon purification purposes to build their crystal cities with. Eventually, after a few thousand years, to be precise, after 5,508 years, the job was done. Lands in the diameter of 400,000 kilometers cleared of all giant silicon trees. Their silicon cities built. Electromagnetic Torus firmament activated, covering and sealing off an area of 400,000 kilometers in diameter, so nothing can escape and no one can come in from outside, except Anunnaki themselves through plasma Stargate portals. At this point of time, humans, plants, and animals did not exist, and in order to harvest a soul for themselves, Anunnaki had to create human carbon life form. Creation of humans under the dome, firmament here on Earth, began for the first time, exactly 2,021 years ago. What is the dome made of? The dome, firmament, is electromagnetic Torus shielding. It only takes hours to activate this kind of shielding, which Anunnaki already had the technology for it before they came here. An electromagnetic plasma shield deflects radiation, as well as any kind of enemy attack from outside bounces off of it. The firmament is built with electromagnetic plasma shield. The electromagnetic Torus shielding dome firmament covers an area of 400,000 kilometers in diameter on the ground and another 400,000 kilometers below ground. The reason it took the Greys 5,508 years to finish the entire project, which the Anunnaki designed, is because apart from clearing the terrain on the ground, they did a lot of digging underground as well, where chief scientists in charge of the project reside, known as the underworld. Digging under the ground was not in a conventional way as we know it, but electrically by high-powered electromagnetic machines, which instantly turns porous inner earth crushed into dust, just like it happened in the Twin Towers on 9/11 in New York City. The underworld is the real deal, with highly technologically advanced network systems which regulates life on the surface of the earth. That is the reason we hear terms such as Asgard, Midgard, and Underworld. As much as the Torus shielding firmament extends its cover above ground, that much it extends underground, as Earth's crust is excellent conductor. Asgard is the crystal city where Supreme God Anu resides, with his entourage and servants. Midgard is where we are, and Underworld is the residence for the chief scientist of Anunnaki family members in charge of the humankind creation project. In the center of the flat Earth, under the dome firmament, there is a large wide opening, approximately 200 kilometers in diameter, where the Torus plasma shielding machine is located. The gigantic river, Oceanus, which fills the oceans with water, also springs up from the underworld. The reason compasses' needle point only towards north is because that is where the dipolar magnetized axis of the Torus double-sided vortex funnel is. And at that point, strongest electromagnetic energy is emitted, which creates both plasma spheres of Torus electromagnetic domes, enclosing and shielding both terrains above the ground and under the surface of the Earth. A magnetic reversal is a flip of Taurus's magnetic field when the positions of magnetic north and magnetic south are interchanged. When magnetic north moves back and forth from its geographic north is because Taurus's spiraling axis funnel is not stable, but constantly moves forth and back from the center of geographic north. The phenomenon of pole shift happens when axis spiraling funnel of Taurus's electromagnetic field shifts from one direction to another, from upward direction to downward direction. This happens approximately every 10 to 12 years. North Pole is above the surface of flat Earth, and South Pole is under the ground in the underworld. When poles shift, North goes underground, and South Pole above the ground. So both geographic and magnetic North and South Poles are in the center of flat Earth, where Oceanus River springs up from the opening to the underworld. The so-called South Pole being in Antarctica is a fabrication, because neither South Pole is there. Not there is any Antarctic continent. Around the center of North Pole's opening, there are 4 large continents divided by 4 gigantic streams of River Oceanus, where water flows outward towards the ocean and backwards to the underworld for recycling. And when the salty water gets recycled and desalinated in the underworld, it is sent back towards the oceans as sweet, drinkable water, which supplies the people living in those 4 continents with fresh, drinkable water for consumption and irrigation. These sweet rivers provided Norwegian sailor Olaf Jansen and his father with drinking water on their journey into the inner earth, as described in the book called Smoky God, or A Voyage Journey to the Inner Earth, written by Willis George Emerson in 1908, which describes the adventures of Olaf Jansen, a Norwegian sailor who sailed with his father through an entrance to the Earth's interior at the North Pole. Our 5 continents are encircled by an ice wall between 80 meters and 4 kilometers tall. On the other side of the ice wall encircling our known world, there are at least 33 more continents. And when compared with this small portion of only 40,000 kilometers in diameter our world occupies, imagine how much more land there is out of the total 400,000 kilometers in diameter which the dome covers. Our world of 5 continents has been deliberately placed closer to the underworld for many reasons, such as Anunnaki science staff do not have to travel far to keep an eye on us. Shorter distance for Oceanus River to be circulated at artificial Earth's irrigation system by biggest rivers which spring from underground, and etc. Another 33 continents on the other side of the ice wall. So, all of the land, which spans 400,000 kilometers in diameter, is covered by the dome, including our 5 continents, which are in the center of this land under the dome. Our 5 continents are encircled by an ice wall between 80 meters and 4 kilometers tall, which blocks access to the other 33 continents over to the other side of the ice wall. South Pole as we know it does not exist. What we know of South Pole is actually the ice wall ring blocking access to the other side to those 33 continents under the dome. Beyond the dome, over the other side of the 400,000 kilometers in diameter, flat Earth extends endlessly into the silicon-based flora and fauna lands, where the Titans over 20 kilometers tall live. Also, beyond the dome there are another 10 million highly intelligent civilizations, like Anunnaki, who communicate with each other via ultra-fast, morphic, filed internet domain.
You say one word, I say amazing.